We welcome you all to Olson Field on the campus of Texas A&M University, where 12th Man Productions presents coverage of the 2008 College Station Baseball Regional right here on Fox Sports Net. Good to have you along with us on this Sunday afternoon. I'm Will Johnson along with Alan Cannon. Two games for you today here on FSN from this regional. The first one is an elimination contest, and it's between Illinois Chicago and Houston. And AC, these are always important, these games where the winner goes on and the loser goes home. Well, the victor in this one gets Texas A&M tonight in the first title game, but you got to get there. What do you expect between UIC and U of H?
Well, these two ball clubs are going to throw everything in the kitchen sink just to survive and advance to that championship game tonight. So look for a quick hook with any pitchers getting into trouble and trying to get runs on the board early to force the issue today.
Well, Texas A&M's the 1 seed. They await tonight. UIC the 4 seed, Houston the 3 seed. The 2 seed Dallas Baptist has gone home. That's where we stand. This could be the final day of the regional, and we've got coverage right here on FSN. Welcome to College Station, Texas. You get a look at Olson Field, and we are about to get underway with game number 5 of the 2008 College Station Regional. This is the second elimination game. The Illinois Chicago Flames have taken the field, and they're getting set to take on the University of Houston Cougars. As we said earlier at the top of the broadcast, that the winner moves on to face the host and top-seeded Texas A&M Aggies tonight. And you get a look at Grant Kolstad, who will begin this game for the UIC Flames. Will Johnson and Alan Cannon with you. And AC, the pitchers, obviously a big part of this. You talk about they'll be on a short leash today. And Kolstad, one of the things with him this year is he has issued 31 walks against 41 strikeouts, kind of a high strikeout to walk ratio. Same thing with our Cougar starter today, Brian Tully. That's not necessarily the ingredient you want this late in a regional, but nonetheless, both are going to be asked to step up.
Well, in collegiate baseball, in regional play, especially you get to the third day, this is where your unsung heroes have to step forward. Looking back on the history of A&M, you had Tim Clarkson, seldom used right-hander that throws a shutout against the University of Miami in a regional play. Houston came back through the losers bracket in 2003, and this elimination game getting started here this afternoon. We'll see who steps forward here at Olson Field.
So after this one is over, either UIC or Houston will advance to play A&M. The loser will see their season come to an end, and Blake Kelso, the Cougar shortstop, gets us started in the top of number 1. Both teams in this game, because of wins over Dallas Baptist, each beat the Patriots to send them home, and each team, UIC and U of H, was beaten badly by Texas A&M already in this regional. Kelso looks out at Kolstad. And set to go with the next offering. That is a strike.
Kolstad had a complete game victory against the NCAA playoff team Vanderbilt earlier this year. Right-hander throws mainly the hard stuff, not much of the off-speed material.
Fouled that one off, did Kelso. The Cougar shortstop hits .292 this year. 3 home runs, 34 RBIs. If he gets on, he has stolen 19 bases in 26 attempts, and that's something U of H does well this season. 141 stolen bases for the Cougars.
Ideal leadoff man, good contact hitter.
Although he came up empty there. A strikeout to begin the game for Grant Kolstad.
Good breaking pitch right there by Kolstad. Important to, as mentioned, elimination, coaches tend to have a short leash. So you want to go out and go right after these batters. You don't want to put any additional batters on base. See right there, breaking pitch on the outer half. Kelso couldn't catch up to it and 1 away here in the top of the first inning.
He'll give way to Jake Stewart, who this year has 14 home runs and 50 RBIs. Kolstad gets ahead in the count. The Flames pitcher, the right-hander, he's got a 6.18 ERA and a 4-4 record. This is his 13th start of the season. When you switch it over to the Cougars side, their starter, Brian Tully, it'll be his 19th appearance, but 17 of those this year are in relief. We'll make it 18.
Tully also plays in the outfield. It's interesting, Houston, going back to the days of Rainer Noble, a lot of two-way players, position and pitchers, do whatever it takes to get that victory.
Kolstad has worked ahead in the count to both hitters he's faced thus far, and he just got Jake Stewart to bounce out. Quickly, 2 down for the Cougars in the top of number 1. Play here on the 3rd day of the College Station Regional.
Fastball outside corner, goes with the pitch. Second baseman there, Leonard making the play. Good strong throw to first base, but good approach by the Houston batter going with that pitch instead of trying to pull off of it. When that location, go with the pitch. Try to hit those gaps. A lot of success playing the middle of the field between the alleys and left center and right center.
Brian Pounds to the plate with 2 out and nobody aboard. A .370 hitter is Pounds. He's over at third base today for the Cougars. Both the Flames and Cougars wins over Dallas Baptist were by identical 9-5 scores. The 1-0. Swinging, fouled back. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the Flames on opening night, they were beaten by Texas A&M 15-1. The Cougars had to face the Aggies last night, and A&M beat U of H 22-4. So the Aggies, who await the winner of this one, 37 runs already in this regional.
Back last night, Houston, Texas A&M, a 12-run 7th, but once again, a mistake led to that big inning. And the team in so many of these sports, football, basketball, baseball, the team that makes the fewer mistakes a lot of times comes out with victory.
Certainly. We've got a 2-1 count to Brian Pounds. 9 home runs this year for the right-handed hitter. It's going to 3-1. U of H trying to get somebody aboard with 2 down in the opening frame.
Wind blowing out pretty much straight away center field. Temperature in the low 90s here at Olson today.
Walked him. So a runner is aboard for Jimmy Cesario, who comes up next, and he's the hottest hitting Cougar of them all in this regional. With Pounds at first, Cesario will come up. Already 6 of 9 in the regional, 2 doubles, a home run, and 3 RBI.
And there was no doubt about his home run last night. Yanked at the right field, a 3-run shot, chip into an early A&M lead. But Cougars very outstanding cleanup hitter in Cesario.
Olstad starts him with a strike. If you are the Flames starter, you hate to see that walk that you just issued to Pounds. If you could have gotten him, you'd rather see Cesario lead off an inning with nobody aboard because of his power. He's got 8 home runs this year. He's hitting .314 for the season, but it's always a little more dangerous when you have to tread through him with the runner on base.
Both pitchers, both staffs, going to have to pound the strike zone and not put extra runners on base. With that wind blowing out, the ball will jump out of here, and you do not want to issue. If they happen to hit them out of the park, that's all right. Just don't put extra runners on base to add to the misery.
Kolstad has gone 0-2 against Cesario. Usually with a hitter like this, you would not give him anything to hit. He did go outside, and Cesario waved at it and fouled it off.
Good 0-2 pitch there, really a little bit off of the plate. Looked like a little changeup. Mentioned that Kolstad, more of a hard thrower, fastball, has the breaking pitch and a change.
He just put that one into the gap, opposite field, left center. That'll land and get to the wall. A run is going to score for Houston. They are staked to a 1-0 lead. 4th RBI of the regional for Cesario, and it brings home Brian Pounds.
Good piece of hitting right here. Cesario breaking pitch outer half and just goes with the pitch to the left center field. That wind's going to carry the ball out to the logo in left center field. And once again, we mentioned the walk, putting that runner on base. Pounds comes all the way around from first base on an RBI double by Cesario, and Houston staked to a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first inning.
So Cesario now 7 for 10 this weekend. That was his third double. Here's Ryan Lorman. He is hot hitting over the weekend as well. 5 for 9 in the Cougars' 2 games of the NCAA bracket.
Another first pitch strike. 4 of the 5 batters faced by Kolstad. First pitch strikes.
Kolstad did an excellent job to get the first 2 hitters out, but then issued a walk to Pounds, and he has since scored. Lorman continues his hot-hitting weekend. He will drive home Cesario, and with 2 down, the Cougars are rolling, and they have a 2-0 lead.
Lorman, you'll see outside pitch, goes with the pitch. We mentioned those gaps, just trying to drive the ball in the gap. RBI single as Cesario comes around to score. And a lot of times on this third day of regional play, you may see some of the high scores. You just got to keep adding to the lead. Houston 2-0 here in the top of the first.
Now the center fielder is Zach Presley, a 301 hitter. 2 outs. Wonder if they'd like to get Lorman into scoring position, and he's the kind of guy that you would send. Lorman this season 29 out of 32 in stolen bases. And as we said earlier, U of H 141 thefts in 2008. That was bounced foul, and it's an 0-2 count.
Presley, a little idea of drag bunt there. Left-hander, pretty good speed. Center fielder, excellent all-around athlete. Not a bad idea. His third baseman was back a few steps back there at third base, but now with 0-2 count, you don't expect him to attempt a drag bunt.
Kolstad, the 0-2, bounced, trying to get up the middle, but over to it, and making the out is Andy Leonard. U of H does get 2 across in the inning, and they lead it 2-0 going to the bottom of the first. You are watching 12th Man Productions broadcast of the 2008 College Station Baseball Regional on Fox Sports.
So, anyone good? Yeah, I got Ellis, Penny, and K-Mac, 3-time Architect of the Year. Who'd you get?
There are over 380,000 NCAA student athletes.
Check it out. The Jay Campbell rookie card. No way! That guy dominates in the lab. Yeah.
And just about all of them will be going pro in something other than sports.
I didn't know he minored in French.
Hey, you're gonna love this new computer. The processor's like 3 gigawatts.
Gigahertz.
And it's got a magical drive.
Optical drive.
2 gigs a sheep.
RAM?
All I know is this baby is screaming fast.
Maybe it needs more sheep.
Your computer's only as fast as the network it's connected to. Step up to Verizon high-speed internet for speeds up to 50 times faster than dial-up, plus the reliability of the Verizon network. Verizon, it's the network.
This is where it all starts? I can't believe the speed of this thing.
You have got to think outside the box.
What's all that got to do with the world's tallest building? I'm mesmerized by this stuff.
Welcome back to College Station. The Cougars got 2 in the first, both of them with 2 outs, and in the bottom of number 1, they'll send out Brian Tully to face the UIC lineup, and Tully, a 5.71 ERA and a 5-3 record. And Alan Cannon, this is just his 3rd start of the year.
Tully started right field for the Cougars, 2-way player, I mentioned mainly coming out of the bullpen, but with the matchup here, Rainer Noble, head coach for the Houston Cougars, choosing to go with his senior. Good team leader on this ball club and just a great competitor. And Rainer Noble, who played ball at the University of Houston, he was known as a competitor, a guy that played really every position except behind the plate. And just a great example of the head coach there for the Cougars.
So for the Flames, it'll be Steve McQuiggan, Ty Rubio, and Jake Carr. That's 1, 2, and 3, and that's how they'll start. But they are in a hole immediately. It is 2-0 Cougars. Steve McQuiggan with a .372 average, 3 home runs, 39 RBIs. He'll try to get the Flames started. Regional in College Station. Every time Texas A&M hosts a regional, it is usually well attended, and that'll be the case tonight when the Aggies play the winner of this. But you can't blame some A&M fans if they've got one eye pointed toward Oklahoma City right now. The Aggie softball team is playing in the Women's College World Series. If they win today, they will be in the National Championship Series and taking on Florida today.
Top of the third inning, Will. Florida won, Texas A&M won. The Aggies, the home team up in Oklahoma City today.
They would have to be beaten twice to be kept out of that National Championship Series.
Florida, the #1 seed of that overall College World Series in Oklahoma City.
They have already set, the Gators, set a record for wins in a season.
And a rematch of the Super Regional that was played here at College Station last year. The A&M beat Florida 2 out of 3 to go to Oklahoma City.
That's what our 3 teams left in this regional want to do, UIC, U of H, and A&M, trying to get to the Supers next weekend. And hopefully they can win there and get on to the College World Series. This regional is matched up with the one in Houston. The 3 teams left there are Rice, St. John's, and Texas. Rice is the one. They're the top seed, and they are in the driver's seat. And St. John's and Texas will be playing the early game today. The winner gets Rice tonight, and they must beat the Owls twice. So that's how that regional is set up. You know how this one is. And those 2 will meet in the Super Regional next weekend, winner to Omaha and the CWS. Base knock for Steve McQuiggan to get the Flames started. They've got a base runner as they trail it 2-0 very early in this game.
Once again, the approach at the plate going with this pitch, fastball in the outer half, and just drives it back up the middle of the field. Base hit in the center field, and the Flames have something going here in the bottom of the first inning. A lot of folks may not be aware of UIC, but they're a perennial NCAA regional playoff team from the Horizon League. Horizon League champion, head coach Mike D in his 10th year there in Chicago. I like that nickname, the Flames.
Yeah. And they have won the last 7 regular season titles in the Horizon League. McQuiggan, on the loose ball, you could say, got down to second base. And a runner is in scoring position for UIC.
Catcher Wallace for the Cougars, ball in the dirt, couldn't come up with it, kind of lost track of it. And McQuiggan allowed to move up to second on the wild pitch.
It's Ty Rubio at the plate. He's 3 for 4 in this regional. The 2, 3, and 4 spots in this lineup today, it was the exact same yesterday when Illinois Chicago took on Dallas Baptist. And this heart of the order really contributed. A day ago against the Patriots, each the 2, 3, and 4 hitter, Rubio, Carr, and Schaefer, they all had 2 hits, and they combined to go 6 for 12 and drive in 5 runs. Carr is behind Rubio today, and Schaefer is in the cleanup spot one more time.
UIC had to come from behind yesterday against Dallas Baptist, the number 2 seed. The Patriots jumped out to a 1-0 lead, and Flames took a 2-1 lead before DBU extended that lead to 5-2.
5-run inning really helped the Flames out yesterday.
Exactly, and there's no quit. These ball clubs, when you have that one loss, the Flames losing to the top seed Aggies, nothing to lose and just try to survive and advance.
A 3-1 count to Ty Rubio, looking out at Brian Tully. He'll try to get the pickoff move out at second base, and it was almost in time, but the ball, with the collision out there at the bag, the ball skipped away.
Crew chief umpire at second base, Mark Ditzworth, the crew chief for this College Station Regional. Behind the plate, Jay Asher. First base, Dennis McComb at second base. Mark Ditzworth, the crew chief at first base today, and Barry Chambers calling at third base.
They are in charge of this one, and Ty Rubio has just been issued a walk. So the first 2 men are aboard for the Flames as they trail it 2-0 in the bottom of number 1, trying to work right back into the contest.
Be interesting to see how Mike D approaches this. We're going to get a visit by the pitching coach for the Cougars, Coach Blunt. With Flames' first 2 runners reaching base, down 2-0, you might consider sacrificing, but with your 3-hole batter, most of the time your best hitter you like to put in that 3 slot, and a lot of times has the RBIs and pretty good average most of the time.
Well, the next 2 hitters to come to the plate for the Flames are Jake Carr, who hits .330, and Brett Schaefer, who leads them in most offensive categories, including a .377 average.
Looking at the schedule of UIC, they started the year against Tulane, an NCAA playoff team. They played Baylor, Illinois, Vanderbilt, Northwestern. Just pretty good non-conference record. They did get the automatic bid from Horizon League, but this is a ball club that's used to playing quality competition.
Illinois Chicago comes into today with a 35-21 record. The Cougars are 40-23, and Jake Carr did show bunt on that first offering, though. He pulled back, and it's 1-0.
Important for the Flames to answer the 2-run top of the first, just to scratch something out. See what happens here with a 1-0 count.
Carr, a .333 average in this regional, shows bunt again. Got it up the first base line. They'll tag him out, and he does the job. Moves both runners over, and they are each in scoring position now.
Down as a sacrifice. You see here, squaring around. Good approach. Bunts it towards first base. First baseman Cesario makes the play unassisted. Both runners move up now. You've got 2 runners in scoring position. McGuigan at third and Rubio at second.
This is the situation the Flames want. Brett Schaefer at the plate with runners in scoring position. Schaefer, 10 home runs in 2008, 60 RBIs. I told you a moment ago he's got a .377 average. He will add to his RBI total, up it to 61. He will be thrown out at first base on the ground ball, but it is now a 2-1 advantage for U of H.
Cougars with the 2-run lead here in the first, the infield back. Schaefer just the ground ball is shortstop. Kelso makes the play over the first base. RBI ground out, 2 away, and Rubio moves over to the third base.
And McQuiggan will score. That's Kevin Coddington, .301 hitting catcher. The Cougars in the top of the first got a couple of runs with 2 outs. There are now 2 down in the bottom of the first, and can Coddington even things up? A base hit would do it. Brian Tully looks in. He's ahead in the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
Good strong fastball on the outer half of the plate.
Told you earlier that both of our starting pitchers, Tully here and Kolstad for UIC, have gotten into some trouble with control this year, and both have walked some people. That'll be key for them today to keep the pitches within the zone. And here's the 0-2. Missed outside.
Waste pitch. Tully, you mentioned the right fielder. Usually the right fielder in your makeup has one of the strongest arms. And on the mound, he brings fastball up there in the low 90s. Good velocity.
Looks in at Coddington with a 1-2 count. Reached out, fouled it off, stayed alive.
Good job by Coddington there. It was a very good pitch by Tully, but doing just enough to fight it off to live again for the next pitch. Tully, a senior from Alief, Texas.
Trying to get out of the bottom of number 1 with his Cougars still on top. That is a base knock back up the middle by Coddington, and he has tied the ball game. Each team a couple of runs in the first inning. The Flames still batting.
Look back in these ball games and clutch hits here with 2 outs, a runner at third. He shortens up and just drives that pitch right back up the middle. RBI single, and this ball game is tied up here in the bottom of the first.
4 total runs early in this game. 3 of them have come with 2 outs. Clouds are kind of rolling in and out here in College Station, and we've had some heat in this regional throughout the weekend. Most of our games, including this one, we played with the temperatures in the 90s. You know, I was wondering how that would affect most of all Illinois Chicago. The other 3 teams that came to this regional are from the state of Texas, probably a little more used to it, and they're coming from up north. And last year, you'll remember, AC, the Aggies hosted Ohio State was one of the teams, and they readily admitted that the heat is something that got to them. They weren't used to it, and I believe last night after the Dallas Baptist game that UIC played, their head coach Mike D made a comment on it. So especially getting into this 3rd day when you've been playing in the heat, once again, the temperature's up there again today. At some point, you got to wonder about the energy level of your ball club.
It takes your legs. The heat does. UIC mentioned on their practice on Thursday, the temperature is a little bit different from what they left up in Chicago. I know you and I were looking through the media guide of UIC. That's quite a campus there in Chicago, looking out from home plate into their stadium and see the Sears Tower.
I know that town is much more well-known for the Wrigleys and the Comiskey's, but Les Miller Field on the UIC campus, I don't know if you're going to get a better view of downtown Chicago and the Sears Tower than that stadium.
Well, and you know that they're baseball fans, much like the city of Houston. Fans here in the state of Texas, big baseball fans.
What we've got is a matchup here of the 3rd and 4th largest cities in the country. Chicago and Houston. Right now they're even at 2. Swinging, fly ball, right field. Heading back is Caleb Ramsey. He'll be shy of the track and he'll make the catch. But the Flames match what the Cougars did in the first, and we have a 2-2 tie going to the second. You are watching 12th Man Productions broadcast of the 2008 College Station Baseball Regional on Fox Sports Net.
Start your weekend in the great outdoors with the Academy Outdoors Show this Saturday morning. host Chad Brower brings you a multitude of exciting outdoor adventures from throughout the region. You won't want to miss a single minute of this award-winning show for the whole family to enjoy, featuring a variety of live-action hunting, fishing, and outdoor adventure trips each week. Right here, Saturday mornings at 8:30 on FSN Southwest.
Life in the Crash Lane premieres next month exclusively on Speed.
It's the third day of this College Station Regional. Could be the final day. Illinois, Chicago, and Houston playing it out right now. The winner faces Texas A&M tonight in the first championship game. The loser will have their season end. If the Aggies are to defeat the winner of this one later on, it brings the regional to a close, and Texas A&M will advance. We'll have that one later as well on FSN. Will Johnson and Alan Cannon with you. 2-2 tie as we go to the second for Houston in this frame. It'll be 7, 8, and 9. Brian Tully, Chris Wallace, and Caleb Ramsey. Tully, the starting pitcher for the Cougs, steps in with a .272 average.
Scoring at home, you'd have him as your DH/pitcher. In the event he is lifted from the mound, he'd remain in all likelihood as the DH.
And they look out at Grant Kolstad, the right-hander today for the UIC Flames. Started him off with a pitch high and out of the zone. And works back to Tully. 2 balls, no strikes.
Low. Mentioned home plate umpire Jay Asher. I don't believe any of the umpires calling this regional are Big 12 umpires. Doug Williams, local umpire and College Station chapter, calls Big 12 games, is actually calling up at the Ann Arbor Regional, University of Michigan.
Arizona in that regional, the top seed. 3-0 count to Brian Tully. He had to wait a moment to find out if he walked or not. He took that step toward first base, and then Jay Asher told him, yes, you can head down there.
Don't like to show the umpire up. A lot of times you want to make absolutely certain that ball 4. You see Tully at first base, the pitcher, DH.
Second walk of the day for Grant Kolstad that he's issued.
2 walks in the ball game, and both walks have come around the score. 1 for the Flames and 1 for the Cougars.
Chris Wallace will now hit. 300 is the average. No home runs, 29 RBIs. So bunt. Kolstad got that one over for a strike. Houston, at the end of the regular season, you'd have kind of called them a bubble team on whether they'd get into the NCAA field or not. They went to the Conference USA tournament as the number 4 seed. They went 5-1 in that bracket to win it. And forget about the bubble, they got the automatic bid. That bunt is laid down. Do they have a play at second? No. Kolstad bobbled it, and he has to go to first base.
Sacrifice in order, 1-3 if you're scoring at home. Wallace retired, but he advances Tully to second base. So he pushing it to the left side of the mound and stays after it. Underhands it there at first base for the out. You mentioned the Cougars, they've won 9 of 10 coming into regional play. The Flames had won 10 of 11, so some very hot ball clubs coming into this regional. Texas A&M had struggled a little bit down the stretch.
They were not one of the hot
teams, but baseball's a strange game.
And the Aggies have exploded over the last 2 days. And they sit with the lone undefeated record in this regional. And we talked about Dallas Baptist. They were the 2 seed. They were eliminated going 0-2. What a story they were. As the only independent team in college baseball to gain an at-large bid into the regionals in 16 years. The last time it happened was 1992. And
Cal State Northridge.
Right.
So
tell you what, that had to be a thrill for that program. I think they may have had to have been, though, a little bit disappointed in the 2 games they played because of the fact that some big innings really hurt them, and they were innings in which they kind of helped the Cougars and the Flames along, and ended up costing them as they lost both games 9-5.
We mentioned mistakes. When you allow batters extra chances, walks, errors, extend those innings, and a lot of times you're going to pay. But Dallas Baptist, just a great year. The Patriots.
Ground ball at the shortstop. Going to have to hurry, and not in time. Beating the throw out is Caleb Ramsey. Base hit on the infield. Runners at first and second.
Just a good job here with 2 strikes, putting the ball in play. And you see the speed racing down first base there. Ramsey safe by a half step. Now runners first and second, 1 away, but some good speed out there on the infield for the Cougars. Shortstop Garcia should have charged a little bit more. You've got to remember who you're facing and whether or not they have good speed.
Back to the top of the order, Blake Kelso. He struck out his first time up. That was in the last inning. We're in the second, and the Cougars have already gone through their lineup. 2-2, but the Cougars are threatening. One to Kelso will stay a little too far outside and low.
Be interested to see Rainer Noble, the head coach, coaches third base. Wears number 85. We'll get into that here in a minute, but the signals from that third base position.
Kelso wanted to lay down a bunt, went foul. Rainer Noble, 14 years at U of H.
Well, and like mentioned, he was a 4-year letterman there. Pitched, played the outfield, just whatever it took. Doug Drabeck was on that staff. They went to the 82 or 83. Let me check. Guess that was the 82 West Regional. Arizona State went 1-2. Rainer picked up the win against San Diego State. Ball here. But Rainer, a little unusual. He wears number 85 as the head coach. And just as a way of remembering his Christian faith, 1985 became a Christian, and just outstanding coach, gentleman, outstanding family there in the city of Houston. Does a lot with the little leagues and camps. Just a quality young man.
He's out at the third base coaching box looking out at his runner on second base, who is Brian Tully. That pitch is a call. Strike 3. Second time today, Blake Kelso has gone down. This time looking, first time swinging, and there are 2 down.
Nice breaking pitch on that outer half there by Kolstad. They'll ring up Kelso, and 2 away.
Hey, something else about Rainer Noble, AC, in looking back at it, he's got more than 400 wins as the U of H head coach, as Jake Stewart is now your Cougar hitter. And there are only 3 coaches who have ever been at U of H and gained more than 400 wins at the school. One of them is Guy V. Lewis. And then, and if you are mentioned in the same sentence in regards to U of H as Guy V. Lewis, chances are you've done something pretty special.
Yes, indeed. Cougars and Aggies run across each other in the old Southwest Conference. Rainer played for Coach Roland Walton there in Houston. Nice old ballpark. Former baseball sports information director Matt Rogers, now general manager of the Corpus Christi minor league ball club.
In the Astros farm system.
Exactly. You know, it's nice to have those minor league ballparks like Corpus over at Round Rock. We get the opportunity to play there from time to time. Played over at Wolf Stadium in San Antonio.
Home of the Missions.
Yes.
Right now we've got a 2-2 ball game and an 0-2 count to Jake Stewart. He grounded out to second base. His only plate appearance. This one is at third, but it'll go foul. And we stay 0-2.
One of these battles here at the plate in a tie ball game. It's hot out there, but who's going to flinch first? Will it be the pitcher Kolstad or the batter Stewart? 0-2 count. So you'd say advantage Kolstad. Stewart hanging tough up there at the plate.
When your season is in the balance, the willingness not to flinch, it's a bit stronger.
There's something about tournament play with NCAA initials, and that's something that maybe Dallas Baptist faced a little bit because they've come to Texas A&M and
first appearance ever for the school.
But they played in the regular season and had defeated Rice, defeated Texas A&M, Baylor.
The stakes are definitely higher in regional play, and that's a base hit into left field. Cougars take back the lead 3-2.
Good at bat by Stewart here with 2 strikes, protecting the plate, gets a fastball from Kolstad, more on the inner half, and just turns on it, drives it in that hole between the shortstop and third baseman. And Tully, our pitcher and DH, comes around to score the 3rd run of the game for the Cougars.
That's the 4th run of the game scored with 2 outs. All 3 of the Cougar runs today have come with 2 outs on the board.
Like that clutch hitting when it's do or die time.
Now it's Brian Pounds. He scored the 1st run of the day after walking in the 1st. He later came home on a double by Jimmy Cesario.
There are not many holes in this Cougar lineup. Pretty solid up and down the order.
A lot of veterans in it. 0-1, fouled off. Now, you were talking about Dallas Baptist and how, stakes are higher in the regional, their first appearance. And Jordan Meeker is who started on Friday for them against the University of Houston. And at the press conference held here in College Station on the day before we started play in the regional, he mentioned that it's probably the biggest start in Dallas Baptist history that he was facing. So that just kind of shows you Dallas Baptist's terrific season in getting here, but maybe even a taller task for that first-time participant in the postseason.
Well, and so many times that first ball game, you got a little jitters, and you're just trying to somehow scratch out a win to kind of catch your breath and kind of get into play. But you look up and you go 0-2 in barbecue in the summer. Go on to play in the summer leagues, the Texas Collegiate League or the Cape Cod. But it doesn't feel like that successful season when you lose the regional, but then you give it a week to 2 weeks, get into summer play, and you remember all the good times.
2-2 count. And a fly ball deep into center field by Pounds. He put a charge into it, and that ball is gone. 3-run shot by Pounds. And it stakes the Cougars to a 6-2 lead.
His 10th home run of the year. See here on replay. Kolstad breaking pitch, he just hangs it up. That would be a hanging breaking pitch. Caroms off of the protection of our center field camera person. Over 400 feet away. We mentioned that breeze blowing out, but when you hang that breaking pitch up belt high, good hitters such as Pounds are going to make you pay, and 10th home run of the year for that right-handed batter.
Now it's Cesario. Cesario is not who you want to see after you've just allowed a 3-run homer, because he's already 7 for 10 in this regional. Doubled his last time up, and it gave him his 4th RBI this weekend. And Kolstad trying to get out of the second. He does have Cesario down in the count 0-2.
Having a little bit of action in the Flames bullpen, getting loose. Right-hander on the bullpen. Try to get a number on that.
High and tight to Cesario. Get out of the way of that one. A warm Sunday afternoon. The Cougars and Flames hoping to play tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
There's something to be said from the loser's bracket, side of the bracket. You can gain some momentum, and if a ball club can kind of get on a roll in this game and try to carry it over to tonight.
Ground ball foul, and Cesario stays alive.
Get in that loser's bracket, the pitching depth becomes the major issue. Have enough arms to get you all the way back.
2-2, swing and a miss by Cesario. However, the Cougars push 4 runs across, and they lead 6-2 as we go to the bottom of the second. You're watching 12th Man Productions broadcast of the 2008 College Station Baseball Regional on Fox Sports Net.
Now, all chicken sandwiches are not created equal. Oh, there's plenty of good ones around, don't get me wrong. But when you add honey mustard sauce, cheese, and bacon to a What a Chicken, you get the new honey mustard What a Chicken sandwich. Now, if that don't put the zip in your doodah, I don't know what will.
What a burger!
Just like you like it.
No matter which road you choose, the Dodge Lifetime Powertrain Warranty has you covered. It's the best warranty in the business, and it comes standard on nearly all Dodge vehicles. No other company matches it. Not Ford, not Chevy, nobody. Dodge. Grab life.
There's a moment at night when all you want is fourth meal. Melty, crunchy, spicy, and grilled.
Houston Cougars lead at 6-2 after an inning and a half of play. U of H offense is rolling, and that means there is action in the Flames bullpen as they already trail this one by 4 on Elimination Sunday here in College Station.
Right-hander number 20, Derek Miramontes, has a 6-2 record out there for the Flames, one of their starters.
Ryan Schweikert is the hitter. The DH. A .313 hitter, and he's got a home run and 6 RBIs. Illinois Chicago came into this regional as a .310 hitting team. Their average in their 2 games this weekend has dipped to .255. Got a couple of hits and a couple of runs in the first inning, but right now at this pace, they're going to have to find a way to slow down that Cougar offense that has put up 6 runs already. It's 7, 8, and 9 this inning for the Flames. Schweikert here, Andy Leonard is next, and Jason Ganick. Then you'll go back to the top of their order.
The Cougars in their half of the second got things started with base on balls. And looks like that will be the same for the Flames here with Schweikert reaching base ball 4.
We mentioned earlier that both pitchers do have the tendency to sometimes issue the free pass, and lead man is aboard courtesy of that for the Flames in the bottom of number 2. Andy Leonard now bats, a .258 hitter with a homer and 2 RBIs.
Right-hander chokes up a score from Oklahoma City.
Yes, sir. The Aggies softball team, for those Texas A&M fans watching this game for scouting purposes, wanting to know who the Aggies will play tonight in this regional. Certainly they've got their eye on what's happening in Oklahoma City in the Women's College World Series. Texas A&M playing there today. It's 1-1. The Aggies against Florida in the top of the 4th. And if Texas A&M wins that, they will play in the National Championship Series, best 2 out of 3, against the victor from the other bracket. Aggie softball no stranger to national titles, although they haven't won one in 2 decades.
Back to the Judy Trussell, Lori Stahl, Sean Andaya, some of the 1987 national champions in softball. Bob Brock, head coach, is now down the road at Sam Houston State.
The 1-2. Swinging, that's in the gap. Won't get to it. Base hit, and heading to third is Schweikert. The Flames are in business, although they trail 6-2 here in the second inning.
Good heads-up play here. Get the base hit by Leonard, pulling it into the left center field gap, but the center fielder Presley cutting it off and getting it back into the infield to second base to keep Leonard at first, so you have runners at first and third. In a lot of instances, if you're not careful, you're trying to get the runner thrown out there at third base. If your throw is late, that allows that runner to advance to second base, but as it is, you have the double play in order with runners at first and third.
Ganick's average .277. Got 33 RBIs and an opportunity right here. Five hits for Houston, 3 for the Flames. Neither team has committed an error.
May get some activity in the Houston bullpen. A bit of a safety squeeze attempt there by the 9-hole batter Ganick. Number 9 in the 9-hole. Count 1-0, expecting something in the strike zone. A little safety squeeze, but fouls it off on the right side. Even the count 1-1.
Runners at the corners. Schweikert at third. Leonard at first. Tully pumps a strike on the outer half of the plate.
As a batter in this position, the one thing you don't want to do, and you see him now choking up even a little more, you want to shorten up and put the ball in place some way, preferably on the ground, just to get that runner home.
He put that into the gap, right center. Extra bases coming for Gannett and an RBI, maybe two. They're waving the runner around third base. 2 RBIs. It's a triple for Gannett, who has slid into third. 2 RBIs and a triple, and it's 6-4. Cougars in the lead, but the Flames on the comeback trail.
We'll bring, see this drive out to the right center field gap, out to the warning track. 2 runs coming around to cut the score to 6-4. And triple, have Gannett standing on third base. No outs here in the bottom of the second. Back to the top of the order for the Flames, but pitching coach Blunt coming out to visit with Tully.
And there is some left-handed action in the U of H bullpen. There is nobody out here in the bottom of number 2.
Activity around the country.
That Houston Regional that we were telling you about that is paired with this one in College Station. The winner of the College Station and the Houston Regionals will meet in the Supers. Texas and St. John's will get underway in about 30 minutes. That's listed as a 2 p.m. start. Then the winner takes on the top seed, Rice, who is actually the number 6 national seed. The winner of Texas St. John's takes on the host Owls at 6 o'clock tonight. It is possibly the final day of that bracket. And the champion here takes on the champion there.
So the fans making their way up from the city of Houston. Interesting, we've got red on both sides of the diamond here this afternoon. The Flames in all white and the Cougars with white pants and red jerseys. That red jersey's probably a little warm here on the Sunday afternoon.
Fittingly, the Flames list their red as fire engine red.
Yes, fire engine red. We won't get into the cow that tipped over the lantern. I like the nickname, the Flames.
Burned down the whole city of Chicago. Fly ball, center field, should get a run home. Getting the job done is McQuiggan, and Gannett will score after his triple. 6-5, the Flames within 1.
Once again, nice job by McQuiggan here, going to breaking pitch, going the opposite way with it. The outfielders are getting their paces in out there for both ball clubs. A lot of drives in the gaps. Sacrifice fly RBI brings up Ty Rubio, the 2-hole batter for the Flames.
He has worked his way on base consistently in this regional. He walked and scored a run in the first. And we told you that Rubio, Carr, and Schaefer, they're the 2, 3, 4 hitters today and have been throughout this weekend. Yesterday they were very productive in getting Illinois Chicago the win over Dallas Baptist. Now that victory for UIC was just their second win in a regional in the program's history. Their first one came last year when they were the 4 seed out in Long Beach, and they beat the number 1 Long Beach State out there.
The Dirtbags, the Long Beach State 49ers officially, but their ball club likes to scrap. And
affectionately termed.
Affectionately termed Dirtbags. We've seen them in the 1999 regional here at Olsen Field.
Fly ball, center field. Going to have to come in for this one. Presley under it, and he'll make a catch. 2 down.
Nice running catch there by Presley. Trying to keep everything away from these hitters. Breaking pitch, he just pops it out there in the short right center. Presley makes the grab and 2 away, brings up Jake Carr.
Illinois Chicago has been in the regionals in 4 of the last 6 seasons. 7 straight regular season Horizon League titles. Fly ball left field taken care of by Jake Stewart, but Illinois Chicago gets 3 of them back in the bottom of the second. We're going to the third, and it's 6-5.